Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to what is episode 135 of the Dudes and Beer podcast. Episode 135. I can't believe it. It is absolutely one of my favorite things in the world. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Yes, I know. It's absolutely hilarious. But I'm here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania right now with probably one of my best friends in the world, my hairy Christian brother, one of the HCs behind HC Productions, as well as the HC Universal Network, Mr. Michael Davis himself.
Los Cristianos Peludos.
That's it, bro.
Many love out there to all of you listening, boys.
You know, the hairy Christians were, are a huge part of my life. To this day, and we made a promise years ago, and it's interesting because the whole episode tonight, the reason why I want to get into the philosophy of the hairy Christians is because the whole episode tonight is about the fall of American society as we know it right now.
Just the decline of the empire.
Yeah. Well, not just the empire.
No,
fuck the empire.
It is the empire.
Yeah. And the problem is, it's about the people. It's about us.
We have gotten away from our individual identities that make us wonderful.
Our PR person, our PR rep,
that's right.
Julie Connolly America mentioned that today on Facebook. The fact of like what's going on, man. Like what's wrong right now?
Understand our country.
Well, it was interesting to hear her say like, why is it about party? Like what's going on with that? And the problem is, it's not about party.
They make it seem like it's about party because it's easier to split you up that way.
Well,
when we all come together and have an understanding of each other as Americans first, and not money first, then we will be a force unstoppable.
Ho to that.
Harumph. Unreckoned with, and that's why the party system is engaged right now.
Well, and to get back to what I was talking about, the root of the hairy Christians, the philosophy, Pax Caritas Unitas Aeternum is is our motto in Latin: eternal peace, love, and unity. And I know that sounds very hippie-like for someone who's a hippie at heart. But I bathe. I don't sleep on people's couches for more than like 3 nights.
Somebody who's a conservative, exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely the definition of a yuppie. Where like I was a hippie, but I understand the reality of the world, and I'm going to start a tea company now. I'm going to start an organic tea company and make a label and brand it. That's what a yuppie is, folks, is people that were hippies that went corporate later on. And that's what I did. Like, I was a rock and roll dude for years and years, and now I've gone corporate, So I am the definition of yuppie. Like, as a Gen Xer, it's odd to be a yuppie.
Super yuppie.
But,
right?
Just our philosophy in general as...
Peace, love, and peace, unity, and... Eternal love.
Yeah. And, it comes down to respect for each other. There are very few of us. There are only like,
1, 2, 3, 4. There's
7
or 8 of us.
There's 7 hairy Christians in the world. Yeah. And, I just spent time with Robert Dodd, one of them. Spending time with one of them now.
Rob on the podcast?
I didn't get to have Rob on the show, but we talked about it.
Rob
He's
Dodd,
down with it.
Listening out there. We love you, brother.
Love you, my man. And Derek, he's living out in Japan now.
Yeah,
we got
Debo's in Japan.
Yeah, we got John.
Misho's still up in
Worcester.
Yeah, Mass.
Worcester, Mass, and we got John Seymour out in Vegas. We got Bryant Mason in Wisconsin.
We have John Crawford.
John Crawford out in California. LA. And it was literally the concept of we respected each other enough to know that we were a moving force in each other's lives.
That's why we made the 5-year...
And Frank Perez.
And that's why we made the 5-year get-together. You know what I mean?
Originally, yeah.
Yeah. That's where this all comes from. So, folks out there, you might not know, we've been getting together every 5 years with all of our friends. Most of the hairy Christians, if we can, every 5 years for the past 25 years. Yeah, and
coming up on just past 20 in 15. 2015 was our 20 year. It was the 20 year of inception.
So every 5 years, yeah, we've got one coming up here this Thanksgiving. Actually, it's been postponed. Anyway,
but I mean, the point I was trying to make is the fact of
it's been an amazing ride. We
live this enchanted reality amongst us.
The warm, tepid waters of academia. Welcome to the American Snowflake College.
It's
kids.
the fact of, and the thing is, like, we've held each other for years, not only to this bond, but to these vows, to these promises, to be right to each other, to be right to other people, and when we're not, to call each other out on it.
Yeah.
And we've had it happen with families where people left and, all kinds of stuff. And we had to intervene and come in and be like, hey, what's going on? What's happening? Because that's our job. That's our job. We take it on each other.
We are our brother's keepers.
Absolutely. And there are many times I've called you for counsel. There are many times you've called me for counsel, and that's what it's about, is being able to empathize, being able to
understanding America.
Yeah. And I think
understanding each other as individuals that are a moving force if we're all together and respecting the power that wields.
Well, we don't necessarily have to be together.
It's interesting you brought the parties up because that plays into that.
Mm-hmm.
Having a party, right? Having a team to play for is so terribly important for most human beings.
Yeah.
So
it definitely feeds into a psyche. It definitely feeds into a means of understanding the world, and quite honestly, something that I've been trying to get people to conceptualize for a while is the idea that your brain is actually a negative feedback machine. It learns from negative feedback. It will learn more. Like, you're a father. Right. If you deride your child, it has 10 times the impact of you supporting them.
You know what? I would have to say it's equal.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I would have to say that
that it's a 1-for-1, that whenever you tell your kid you're wrong, you've done bad,
right?
I'm disappointed in you, that it has the same equal value
how many,
as
when you
laud them.
How many pluses are you putting on the scoreboard versus how many negatives are you putting on the scoreboard when you're tallying?
Well, and that's the thing.
Don't feed that. But
no, that's the thing, is that we can tally. We can tally like that because we're adults and we understand that. Mm-hmm. But children don't really understand that.
Correct.
They're much more emotionally driven.
Correct.
So when you do...
A 1-for-1, yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a 1-for-1 trade. As my experience as a teacher, I wouldn't say it's a 1-for-1 trade. No, at a minimum, it's a 1-for-3.
I would say it depends on the person. You were talking about individual personalities.
It does.
Because one of mine... thrives under the pressure and negative feedback, and then there's one that absolutely
cowers from it,
hates it, and then there's and that's the one that responds best to the positive feedback.
Okay,
it's just I'd say it's a as far as the brain being a negative feedback loop, it's a both.
Well, it's the fact of
a negative and a neutral.
It's the fact that we're wired to learn from negative. We're wired to learn from danger. We're waking.
Oh, yeah.
That's hot. Ow. You only need to touch it once. Yeah. No, that's just it. Like
reptile brain.
Yeah,
man.
no, we got monkey brains,
we got reptile brain.
And deep inside our monkey brains,
our monkey brains.
You get into the amygdala and it's straight up reptilian.
Yeah,
it's only like live or die. That's the only situation to the amygdala. One of the two.
And I'm not and it's the
There's
whole
no
thing.
shade of gray.
And then there's the there's the initial spark, which is human, right? That ends up being the outside that started that whole thing. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, and there's the external stimuli that causes the reaction in the brain. That be it positive, be it negative. I'm just saying the fact that our brain is wired to learn from negative. It's wired because we are a survival animal. It's wired to learn more from negative and to reinforce more from negative.
Gotcha.
So when you look at social media, when you look at those things, like it's interesting how people have considered the fact that like social media brings us closer together. It definitely gives us quicker access to each other, but I don't think it brings us closer together. I think it gives people a false sense of security.
The problem is
to say whatever they want without yes.
And
to say whatever they want
because you have a digital presence instead of an actual presence.
Yes, and
the problem is here's the problem.
Ahead.
Here's the problem right now. All these people are trying to live in the digital world. Granted,
let's preface this. Let's preface this real quick. Hold on.
But the issue
Michael does not belong to social media. Michael is not on any social media. You cannot find him.
Except LinkedIn.
Because of professional reasons. And that was firm reasons and things like that. But he's not on Facebook. He's not on Twitter. He doesn't do those things. He has a Google account because he has a phone. That's the only reason why he has a Google account. Like, he didn't even download the Dudes and Beer app through the Google account. I sent him the actual APK for his phone.
Right.
So that he didn't have to go to the Google store.
Well, I went and sought it out, but I needed more nooks and crannies in Nocturne Alley.
So that's where Michael lies in the digital world, folks. Even though he lives his world in the digital world as a business person and as someone who does investment banking and things like that, he does not
Families
live.
and small businesses only?
Yes. Absolutely. We'll give you a chance to plug.
Okay.
Because we want to use you for financial shit and stuff like that as things go on to discuss things in the world going on around us. But it's, going back to what you were saying.
My issue is that with the digital presence, right, 100% of life is lived analog.
Yeah.
You have to breathe. You have to eat and drink and make mess. Right? It is the
those are the three functions.
Dirt. Yeah,
those are the three
life,
functions.
Right? That is the actual dirt.
Without that, you don't have life.
Right. Exactly. So everyone,
even on a microbial scale,
everyone lives analog. But there's so many people trying to convert that into semi or permanently digital. Right? You try living digitally, right? And what you end up with, right? What you end up with eventually, because we're already starting it.
Is it called heartless, unfeeling person like me?
Implants. No, we're already starting it with implants.
Oh yeah,
coon.
I'll let you call me that derogatory term, Michael, because you've been to my cave. You've been to Mamu more than once. That's why.
Oh,
all right,
Auntie Clarice, dude.
So, Mama, yeah.
Mama.
So yeah, I'll let you call me a coon ass, which just so everybody knows, that's actually a derogatory term. That's our word.
Nevertheless.
Anyway.
Yeah. You can't, if you're going to live, right? Why don't you live as fully as you can?
Well, be present in the here and now.
And being present in the here and now, which means that you have to eschew digital presence. And it goes back to your point, and understanding America. We no longer understand each other because we are functioning on a social media platform wherein you have a digital presence and you are not accountable for the things that you are saying.
That's it.
It gets tacked up on the board like in the middle of Rome and everybody walks by and fucking reads it. No, it gets blasted across this huge ripple pool of people that purport to like you, or you know what I mean? There's a loop.
Friends by click alone.
Loop.
That's my new phrase, everybody. I just coined that. Friends by click alone. Friends by click alone.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm making T-shirts.
Single serving friends, right?
Yes.
No.
Go Fight Club.
Yeah. If you're gonna, when you are doing that and living in a digital world, you are not understanding your other human beings.
Yeah.
And because we live in one place, we actually have the ability to commune together, right?
That's just
much easier because we're in a common place.
Well,
versus Europe or China or other, right? Cultural exchange, right? Understanding being the root of all peace.
Society and peace, yeah.
Well, liberty and peace.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. No, because understanding goes...
Stand up and gain your liberty again.
Understanding goes straight down to liberty. Because you have to understand that the right to the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
It comes from love.
Yeah. It comes from unconditional love for your fellow man. It comes from, and I understand that the people who wrote that owned slaves, things like that. That was the society that existed at the time. It was a horrible thing. Most of them, by the time that slaves were passing out, were, getting rid of them anyway. But to look at it in a modern... Because most people would bring that up if you were on Facebook. That's one of the first things that would be brought up. Is great. Bring up the slave owning founding fathers. Fantastic. They're literally...
Is that a yardstick?
They're literally... Yeah, it is. It is. Like right now, one of the big debates is whether or not they should bring down a plaque in George Washington's church because George Washington owned slaves. So here's this historic landmark that's existed forever because of George Washington, and we need to...
He's the man that was offered a kingship and pushed it away.
Refused it until you get it right.
Gave us our liberty back. Gave us a self-will instead of a controlled will. But I mean, I would go so far as to say, Drudge is right about the ghettos. Because you in social media, it is media driven, which means corporation driven, which means money driven, which means there's an agenda.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So when there's an agenda,
otherwise my paid ad wouldn't reach so many people.
You're hurting people into specific thought areas and keeping them away from other areas.
That's right. You are specifically changing paradigms.
That's why it's so important for us to understanding America. Man, I really like where you started with this tonight. When I read the link that you sent to me about the title, I didn't quite understand where you wanted to go because I was like, fuck, I'm more hopeful than that. You know what I mean? I'm more hopeful than that.
But that's where people take it. And I write those titles because they sizzly. I worked in media, folks, and I don't know how to describe this episode better than the slow and steady process of the degradation of America,
the empire.
And
loss of the empire.
And believe me, I don't want to get into NWO, New World Order, any of that kind of stuff that's out there. That's definitely out there.
The issue is we've become empire. We have troops in
we've become oligarchy.
100 something countries.
If people actually understood the fact that we're not supposed to have a permanently funded army. By the Constitution, we're not supposed to have a permanently funded army. And the fact that we continuously stay in a state of war continues the fact that the president is commander-in-chief and is in power over everything according to the War Powers Act, which is why executive orders can exist and everything else. You know, and you get rid of a permanently funded army and go back to a volunteer army like we're supposed to be.
Might not be a bad thing.
You know, which I guarantee you, like, if 9/11 taught us anything, despite any theories out there or anything else, if 9/11 taught us anything, come the need, people will sign up. Come the need, people will sign up.
That's true. That is true.
Because we had such an influx of people that signed up to join the military and our fighting forces after 9/11.
I was going to say, looking back.
Despite what took us to war or anything else, that's the lesson there, is come the need, people will sign up.
No, I'm going to disagree with you at this point. Because I think that we were, pre-2001, we were happy-go-lucky monkeys.
Oh, God, yeah.
Just skipping along in the schoolyard and the sunshine and the roses.
Monkeys don't go to school, Michael.
Yes, they do.
You monkey mother.
Yeah, I'm a big crazy monkey, and I have 3 little monkeys, and I got a little mama.
Goddamn devil monkeys is what they are. I love you, kids.
Huey, Dewey, and
God damn, if you're listening to this, your ass better be in bed.
No,
I swear to God, if Uncle Waldo finds out that your ass ain't in bed,
they already in sleep.
Lawnmower comes out.
They know Alexa, play me this and that in my house.
You better learn to turn the needle. Crank that vitriol up. Same way we churn butter and make ice cream. Did you ever sit on an ice cream churn? Are you country enough?
I've churned. Yeah.
Are you country enough to have had to be the one sitting on the ice cream churn so it stays down? Because it was a fought for spot in Texas as a kid.
No.
Because it's like 110 degrees in the shade, and hey, you want me to sit on some ice? Cool.
Heck yeah.
I am right there, bro.
First in line. 110. So you got a big block of ice?
Right here.
Yes, sir.
Right here. I will sit on a bucket of ice for you.
For real.
And, and that's something else that, I think is really to the point. Oh, my God. Michael Richardson tuning in. How you doing, Mike Richardson?
What's up, Mike?
Yeah, tuning in from Austin, Texas. Hey, brother. Hope everything's good. One of the things that we were talking about beforehand, I grew up in a very diverse high school, graduated with about 500 something people. You grew up going to school just south of
Sock, baby. South Oak Cliff.
South Oak Cliff.
Dallas, Texas.
And we're the minority. And, there's such a huge racial divide going on in our country. One of the things that I mentioned in a Facebook video that I went live with beforehand was the fact that this last election.
Need to tune into Red Pill.
That
girl is beautiful.
This last election showed us the fact that we are literally right at the point of civil war. And when I say that, it's that we are right at the point culturally amongst each other as people where we were at the point of the Civil War. And at this election, it showed us where, brothers were turning against brothers. Fathers were turning against sons. Families split up, over the election.
There was some, you're right. There was some crazy stuff going on this last election.
Yeah.
Well, and look at what's happened afterward, too. It's total intolerance and not, nobody's actually thinking through their actions. It's my team versus your team.
Yeah, and that's just it. And I recall, and the whole precept behind Dudes and Beer goes back to the original concept of our founding fathers and the Green Dragon, which is the tavern where the American Revolution was plotted. Here you have the pub, the public house, where everybody from upper crust to lower crust gathers, and you're talking politics, economics, religion, These are the things that are life.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are the things that are life, and you have passionate discussions.
Yeah.
And people like Thomas Jefferson said, suffer the fact that I have an argument with a friend that we cannot resolve.
Yes. Indeed.
You know?
Indeed.
And it's the fact of you and I have had disagreements, Mike. How many times has it been the fact that I had to go knuckle down on you about something because I just didn't agree with what the hell you were doing in life? And you've done the same thing with me.
Sure enough.
Because that's what we're supposed to do.
You know what? My friends call me El Dedo del Dio.
Well,
the finger of God.
Well, and quite honestly, amongst the Christians, you're the Reverend of Truth. You're the one that, regardless of anything, will come to somebody and be like, "Hey, dude, I love you, but you are fucking up right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are fucking up big time." And it's something that I've appreciated my whole life. It's one of the reasons why you're still heavily involved in my life. And I think that we as a society have gotten to the point where everybody is so entirely... It is a point of intolerance.
It's intolerance. And the fascist, right, whether it's right or left, is
because it's on both sides.
Because it's on both sides is to, quell any talk, or all the talk, right? Because squelching any talk is squelching all the talk.
And we're getting ready right now We're getting ready right now to have Larry Pinckney. He was one of the original ministers of propaganda and stuff like that for the original Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
Come on the show and talk about the original platform of the Black Panthers, what they were about in community, about changing lives, about changing community. Mm-hmm. And then they were eventually infiltrated by the CIA and FBI and stuff like that and became the violent regime that took over and became what is now the new Black Panther Party, which is considered like a terrorist group and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I want to go back to your piece here about where we went to school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because I think it goes to understanding. Like I myself, my father's fan. I'm not going to say that there aren't a few country folk in my mom's family that are a little on the not so kind side to the others in the world. Mm-hmm. But I have interracial marriage on both sides of my family. I have homosexual marriage on one side of my family. I have a lot of understanding in a lot of ways, but I can definitely say my father's side of the family was a lot less understanding toward a lot of that.
Oh yeah, sure.
And your dad Pops is basically the proxy grandpa for Dalmas, and
Well, thank you. I love to hear that. That's awesome. Awesome.
Well, it's the fact of
I gotta tell Papa Texas he's got another grandboy.
I love my dad. I love him. But the problem is, it's almost like, and believe me, my son will go to public school.
All the time.
My son will go to public school.
That's the only problem.
My son will go to public school, but I firmly understand the fact that there's going to be a lot of so check it out, discussions after public school. So I understand that this is what you learned today. So there's this too. There's this as well, and this is how it relates to that.
And that's
and giving them the full idea.
And that's why I don't get how these American
if my son was to go
put the flag away, or you can't be white, and you got to have classes to remediate your whiteness.
Well,
I grew up in a place where.
You were the minority.
I was a minority, right? It was my high school was like 60% black, 20% Hispanic, some Asian, and 20% white. And that was and we all had to get along.
Yeah.
And you know what? We did.
Yeah.
It wasn't not everybody loved everybody, don't get me wrong. That's the
fights
way
happen. That's how it happens.
There's as much racism between the Polacks and the Turks and the Greeks and the blacks and the whites and the purples and the green. Right? Well, everybody's got their own identity. It's cool to make fun, right? I mean, or it should be, like our great-grandfathers did. Right? I mean, especially with your... And what I mean is your friends. What I mean is your friends. Right? Otherwise...
Just like you called me coon-ass earlier.
Otherwise, you should have social grace.
Yes.
Right? Oh, we were talking about... elegance and treating people properly and social grace and holding doors open for people and just saying hi. Talking about racism here in the North, right? I mean, if we're going to get into race.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I think number one, I think
there's been more racism up in the North since I moved here than I ever experienced in the South.
Yeah.
Even though it was
and I remember you telling me that when you went to Rutgers.
Present, yeah.
I remember you telling me that when you went to Rutgers. And I think, I think a big issue, number one, is that people tie race to color. No.
That's what I'm saying.
Color does not define a race.
Nationalities, really.
Exactly.
It really becomes
race is technically nationalities. It's a group of people.
That's what Americans are. That's what Americans are.
That's it.
If you believe what we believe and have
Americans are a race
and have come here of your own volition to better yourself, right? Then you're going to abide by our laws that we've set up so far, because once you get in the stream, you're going to be able to change the river along with us, because we are a force to be reckoned with of people, right? Otherwise, if you're coming here for nefarious purposes, don't want you around.
Yeah. Even if you live here and you have nefarious purposes,
don't want you
around.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah. And I'm not going to pay you money to be around here either.
Here's a topic that's been hot on the button lately.
And that's what I'm saying. You follow the laws.
I was before the show started, we were talking CHL, things like that. I'm getting ready to take CHL. Just purchased a couple things. Conceal handgun license is what that means, folks. Yes. And there are laws behind that. There are regulations behind all that kind of stuff. But I'm personally preparing for it.
And the wife
can't wait to do it. The wife is preparing for it as well. And there was a big debate recently that happened on Michael Cargill. Big shout out to Michael Cargill of Central Texas Gunworks. Love everything that you do with Come and Talk It, stuff like that. Check him out, everybody. If you're in the Austin, Texas area, they have some great prices. Their website is fantastic, and things come to you in a great amount of speed. I've got something waiting for me whenever I get home. But the debate that was going on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Not even a sponsor, everybody. I just love the guy because Michael Cargill is a box of his own.
Ladies and gentlemen,
that's a throwdown, bro.
It was something to behold. It was even better than my shiny Bostonians I'm looking at right now.
I saw him smile, and when I see Mike Davis smile like a puppy dog, that's how I know I did something right.
Oh my goodness.
But quite literally, the question was, should you be allowed to carry, even as a CHL, if you're not drinking in a bar?
Oh, okay. Should you
be allowed to carry?
Even if you're not drinking in a bar?
Yeah.
I would say yes, as long as you're not drinking.
What? But at that point, oh, what happens if you decide to drink?
No. Here's the problem, right? Liberty comes with responsibility.
Yes.
Okay? That's once we understand each other.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's why I want us to understand each other.
Right, and have communion.
Because I love you.
Right. And that's the problem. We cannot legislate morality. We have tried to legislate morality.
Oh, yeah. I mean, go take a look at Prohibition and see how well that worked. It was the greatest crime spree in American history for 8 years solid.
Once we understand each other and have common ground, then there's respect, and then there's liberty.
Yeah.
Right? And what we've done is especially with this digital age, right, is allowed unaccountability.
Absolutely true.
And turned ourselves from understanding to I'm an island, right? I'm not even a nationality. I claim to be. You know what I mean? I claim to be from, Central America. I claim to be from Middle Africa. I claim to be from Northern Europe, right?
Well, and
I
even
claim
that.
to be from,
even that,
Earth.
dude. If you, well, no. I mean, quite honestly,
and
if you look at
islands,
if you look at any form, like on a government, like, I'm sorry, I'm not technically Caucasian because none of my family comes from the Caucasus Mountain regions of Russia. How many Black Americans can actually trace their actual roots to Africa right now? Most Hispanics, as defined, most Mexicans I know are pretty proud to be Mexican. Most Puerto Ricans are proud to be Puerto Ricans. Most Cubans are proud to be Cubans. And to be lumped into, I think the problem is that we lump people into categories to begin with, period.
Well, and
which loses the concept
into one yourself
of individual
as an island, right? I'm this, and then all you've got is, I don't know, how many people that are you going to run into on a yearly basis as a human being? And it depends on probably the size of the place you live in.
Oh no, absolutely.
But I mean, what would an average person in I don't know, New York or Hong Kong consider a circle of friends? There's got to be an outer limit there. 250, 350.
Well, I mean, you got to look at the cultural difference at that point also, though, because whenever you look at China, whenever you look at Mexico, whenever you look at cultural differences to begin with, whenever you talk about family, it blew Amy's mind the first time she came to a family reunion. It was like, yeah, we're having a family reunion. And there are 75 people at a family reunion. And she was like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, it's a family reunion. Right. I can't wait. We have family reunion this year and I have a baby. We're going to be the superstar.
Yes, you are.
Hey, everybody, check out my baby. He's been in a movie and a skit on video. Yeah. Sketch. Sorry, not a skit. Sketch. I'll have to show it to you.
Nice. Nice.
It's the shit.
Hey, all of you out there, check out the Pittsburgh Sopranos, SOAP. Sopranos. Some friends of mine who actually make soap here in town.
Oh, sweet. Okay, soap.
Yeah.
That's punny.
Phenomenal.
That's punny.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That's funny. Anyway, yeah, Pittsburgh Sopranos. So cultures,
there you go. They just got a shout out.
Sweet.
Boom.
So, being a minority.
Well, I mean, when you were a minority, because even whenever I was in the seminary in Dallas, did my practicum, and practicum, folks, is basically like a night job for a seminarian. Once, twice a week, you go out somewhere and you do a service at a parish. And my job was to go pray the rosary with the Legion of Mary group in Oak Cliff. And it was a group of young Hispanic kids, 7th and 8th grade,
Sweet.
Who most of them were gang affiliated. They came with their grandparents or aunts or their moms who went to adult Legion of Mary. And then we're enjoying some Yingling, which is my favorite lager to enjoy whenever I'm on the East Coast. It's the only place I can get it. It's the oldest brewery in America.
Pottsville, Pennsylvania, baby.
Working with those kids and seeing things dude, I saw a 7th grader bring a gun to church because he had to go through gang territory to walk his grandmother to pray rosary.
Dude, when
7th grader bringing a gun to friggin' pray the rosary and play basketball.
There was a whole gang of black and white boys in the stairwell snorting cocaine.
Yeah.
Right? 9th grade. No, wait a second.
Drug using.
Yeah.
Drug using.
It was, too.
What's that about?
10th grade. Hold on.
Come on now.
It was 10th grade. No, it was 9th grade. 10th grade. 10th grade. Dude, watch the brother with a whole bag of guns walk across the middle of my high school campus.
And see, I remember when the first...
with the whole bag of guns.
I remember when in Spring Branch...
Like a little bag.
It was my freshman year.
My goodness.
It was my freshman year, because I remember hats were banned after that. And we used to have, like, Go Texan Day and shit like that, where you could wear cowboy hats, and it was like, nope, can't have cowboy hats, because hats is hats. So that was fair. That was fair.
Hair touching your cowboy.
But quite literally, the first gang-related shooting in West Houston in Spring Branch happened my freshman year at, it was, oh my God.
Houston.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to remember Springwoods High School.
That was the first gang shooting in Houston at a school ever.
And yeah, my stepsister went there, and it was supposed to be like a highfalutin school, stuff like that. A dude had apparently been like threatened by a gang and stuff like that at school, and brought a 25 in his backpack, and it went off on the bus and shot somebody. And that was the first quote unquote gang related shooting in
Houston's history.
Well, no, not in Houston's history, but in Spring Branch.
Okay.
In my school district.
Gotcha.
In my school district.
I'm with you.
So, it was one of those like, oh my God, like geez. And it changed things. It started like suddenly we had constables on campus. We never had metal detectors. I don't think even to this day that my high school has metal detectors.
From the time I graduated Lancaster High School in Lancaster, Texas, ladies and gentlemen, to not 3 years later, maybe 4, right?
Yeah.
We went from you could walk straight into the front door to full-out metal detectors, cop hanging out.
Yeah.
Right.
And I knew the high schools that did that.
Right. Nevertheless, I think, my high school experience gave me an appreciation for all of us, really. Right. What did I have some prejudices that were taught to me? Yes. I think so.
I think we all have some prejudices that are taught to us.
I think we all,
I know people that are religiously prejudiced because of things that they were taught early in life and things that were impressed upon them. Right. To this day, they will have nothing at all to do with religion or talk about it because they just...
It's just, can't do it.
Like I had enough of it by the time I was 8. And at the same time, I went to the seminary for a year and was an assistant youth minister for years after and taught religion and theology and sexuality and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. Like we are all, like we said earlier, individual. And to try to lump people, and I think that's the issue. That's the problem is that we...
what I'm saying,
we try to put people into baskets,
right? Is growing up in a certain place, right? I had to unlearn some things and learn new things.
Yes,
right.
Well, the thing is, you were willing to unlearn some things.
Sure.
You realized that you had to unlearn some things.
Some people, some people grabbed me by the hair and pulled me out of the cave and showed me the sunlight instead of the dumb show that was going on. With the little
pulled
Play-Doh.
You away from the shadow puppets.
Yeah, a little Play-Doh.
Pulled you away from the magic screen.
And unlearning and relearning has allowed me to understand what I think we have lost through political correctness, right? Which is social grace.
Yeah.
Because I was wrong, and now I'm found.
Well, And it's the fact of, quite honestly,
was blind, but now I see.
Hell yeah. Go Amazing Grace.
Right? And that's what social grace does. That's what social grace does.
The thing is,
if you are politically correct and hop on my ass with your little digital digital presence, then
if you've got social grace, you don't have to be politically correct to begin with.
That's right. No accountability. Then you are not allowing me to say, you know what? I'm sorry. I was wrong, and I got better.
Yes.
Right? Political correctness kills social grace. Well, because without the ability for forgiveness to happen, amen, hallelujah.
At that point,
praise be to Jesus.
Oh, no. At that point,
in a hotel.
Quite honestly.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, at that point, and we've made this point so many times on the show, is at that point you've gotten rid of the entire U.S. judicial system. You've gotten rid of the concept of somebody going to prison, paying their due, doing their time,
and coming out
a different person.
Okay, so at our high school this last 8 days.
Because believe me, when I was a teacher, when I was an assistant youth minister, when I was a substitute teacher, I heard the term hopeless case. I heard the term, that kid can't be corrected. He can't be fixed. And I'm like, you have a friggin' issue right now if that's what you think. You're the one that can't be fixed.
So here's where I'm going, right?
Go ahead.
Out of the last 8 days, there have been 3 bomb threats at the high school.
Where?
At my high school in the town I live in. It ain't important, right?
It is.
Well, it's not a terrorist thing, right? It's a
Mercer?
A couple of yokels getting their jollies off in high school. So
in
you got
Mercer?
Yes.
You're shitting me.
No. So
folks, ladies and gentlemen,
times.
Let's lay it down real quick. What Mercer is? Because we talked about like Mamou, Louisiana.
Literally, Cleveland.
One red light.
One.
Two, like 3, literally down the
4,
road from
5.
his house are like carriage crossing signs. Like he lives in the middle of like Amish land.
The Dutch land, man. Yeah. Pennsylvania Amish Dutch, man.
So when you're talking in the middle of Dutch land in high school that you're having bomb threats. I'm sorry, that's a little something.
No. It's not, because it's just kids. Now here's where I'm going. It's just kids being dumbass, right? Now wait. You have to understand. You have to understand that they know all about the world that's going on, right?
Sure,
because they're getting the information too.
God willing, they ain't stupid.
No, they're not. They've got like 100 and.
We don't know what their GPA is.
Yeah, but the argument that was made to me was throw that little bastard underneath the jail and throw the book at him and make him a felon for the rest of his life. Now wait a second.
No.
And I was like, wait.
No.
They're just being dumb. Make me hot, baby. They're just being dumb. It's just kids being dumb, and what you need to do is come down like a ton of bricks on them.
And I'll tell you why.
But don't make them pariah for the rest of their life.
I'll tell you why, Michael.
Forgiveness.
Because at the ripe age of 14. I myself, a latchkey kid. I love my mother. My mom's probably tuning in and listening right now. I love you, Mom.
Love you, Mama.
Mom said to say hi. Hi to the family. Hi to the kids.
You.
She loves you so much.
Big hug, kisses.
But she's probably tuning in, and on occasion she has the Catholic guilt thing and the Cajun guilt thing going on, and I'm like, hey, man, like I lived my life. I did my thing. You raised me right. Mama tried.
Hell yeah.
But as a latchkey kid, as someone who, my mom worked and then she went to school. So I was by myself for quite a bit of the time, quite a bit of the day. And then at a certain point in high school, it was the fact that was happening and my brother was working at the same time. So my brother went home with me. And I'm a pretty industrious kid. I made my own homemade smoke bombs. I made my own homemade black powder, like all kinds of stuff. I accidentally caught my neighbor's fence on fire with a homemade smoke bomb. Thought I put it out.
Okay, so how does this bear on the case? Well, do you throw the kid underneath the jail, or do you? Oh no! I
ended up on probation until I was 18.
Slam their head against the door and tell them to go home.
Yeah, you slam their head against the door and you give them some probation and you teach them what's right. But the thing is,
better than parade.
Here's the thing, right. Especially because what I did was not threatening other people.
Okay, that makes sense.
What I did was in my backyard, and it happened to spill over somewhere else. I tried to take care of it. I tried to put the fire out. There were some embers that recaught and caught the neighbor's fence on fire, and they called the fire department.
I'll take the argument.
So there's a difference in intent.
Sure. Yes.
When you are actively calling that in as someone who worked with youth, things like that, that is a cry out. That is a, hey, you look at me moment. And that's dangerous, especially when you're talking something like that. Because that may be somebody who took the other side a bit further.
Well, then I hope
who took the concept of it doesn't take anything but a few household chemicals to make something go boom.
Oh, right. It's pretty easy. Yeah.
Not even to make something go boom, but to make something go toxic that can hurt people costs less than $5 in chemicals in a plastic fucking 2-liter bottle. That could do some serious damage to a high school hallway and hurt people. And a bunch of people. Yeah. And that's what you have to look out for.
Well, I understand.
That's what you have to be careful for.
I understand that.
So,
And
you throw the book at them? No, but you definitely discipline them. You definitely let them know where the lay of the land is, where the law of the land is. You put it down.
I would even think a misdemeanor would be fine.
Oh, no. Like I said, I ended up with what ended up to be a sealed record after the age of 18. 18, it was expunged.
And that's bullshit, too, because everybody knows. Everybody knows. It's a deal on the computer, man.
I'm with you.
That's what they told me, anyway.
No. Mine's legitimately gone.
All right, good. Well,
it has never appeared anywhere. Ever. So it was legitimately gone when I turned 18. It was, yeah, absolutely gone. But,
no, it's probably not. If you think about it.
I own firearms. So
I wouldn't. Well,
it wasn't a violent act or anything like that. I wasn't charged with a felony. I wouldn't, that was later in life. Charged, never convicted.
Here. And that's why we should have, all of us.
That's right.
A jury of our peers.
That's right. Always demand a jury trial.
Always.
In the good words of our friend Adam Raposa, God bless him. We know he's out there working hard, doing his time.
Yeah, man.
Right now.
Hey, yeah, right on, Adam.
Check out the Adam Raposa Fund, Adam Raposa Defense Fund on dudesandbeer.com. It's up there in the top right-hand corner with a couple other good causes like some good Hurricane Harvey causes, stuff like that. But the issue I think that we have as a society as a whole, like we brushed on earlier, is the fact that we don't see each other as individuals. We see each other as groups. And we don't understand that each person's individual view is formed from their life, is formed from what they've experienced. is formed from a concept of what they know to be. And that can be changed when you're exposed, especially if you're willingly exposed.
Oh yeah,
you gotta be willing.
I've lived in Mexico.
Don't point that bottle of whiskey at me.
I've lived in.
Damn it!
You know,
I'm gonna drink it now.
The Caribbean. I've lived in Italy and France, and you know what I mean. Like, yeah. You start to understand.
You spent a semester in Mexico. You
did that whole summer in the Caribbean.
Dude, you came back with dashikis, bro.
Nobel laureate.
Came back wearing dashikis, man.
Hey, man, it's the islands.
Dude, I want a dashiki. That shit was bomb ass.
We like the islands, man.
Just don't hang out underneath desks all night, people.
Yeah, right.
That's all I ask.
Yeah, under the desk. Under the desk. You gotta jump under the desk.
Under the desk. Yeah, it's nice under here.
It was. It was very nice.
But that's the thing. America is so nice under the desk. Like everybody's so willing to be an ostrich in the sand, dude. We're so willing to be a horse with blinders on and just see whatever's ahead and just ignore what the fuck is around us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the digital presence.
Years ago.
You're not walking out into the world.
Michael, you've known me for almost a good 30 people. You've known me, this is shameful, folks, for almost a good 30 fucking years of life.
That's not shameful.
Hey, that means we're old.
We're graying with age, baby.
I'm graying.
Yeah, I haven't grayed.
You ain't lost nothing since you were 19.
Nah, it's about half there. It's about half there.
You're just kind of short.
Yeah, it's just a little short on the sides. That's all.
But quite literally, you know, to look at things at the fact of we as a society don't see each other as individuals. We don't see each other as having an individuality. We see each other as ascribing to tribe.
Right, as other.
Yeah, it's a very tribal mentality when you come to think about it.
There's something deeper to that. Because when you individualize yourself and don't go out into the world, you know, you're setting yourself alone, right?
Yeah.
And in that aloneness,
is that a word?
Yes.
I'd say solitude.
You find yourself, you know, you're not happy with the way you see yourself. And therefore you don't respect anyone else. And that's where I'm saying elegance and social grace must return.
Yeah.
Really, for America to be free again.
Yeah.
Because only with those two things, and an armed society is a polite society. Well, I'm a Mark Twain fan.
Hey, go back to the day, besmirch me.
Just no fish hooking. There was no eye gouging. Other than that, let's go.
There was the day of the dueling glove, and besmirch me not, my friend.
Right.
Do not besmirch my pride.
Right.
Because if you challenge my manhood, then we may have to challenge manhoods.
Right. Yes.
Ha ha
ha. Get the pistols out.
Ha ha ha. 10 paces, son.
Yeah, get the pistols
and
out.
Hey, I'm here to tell you, folks, if you could hit something at 10 paces with a smoothbore pistol,
you're doing pretty good. Yeah, you're doing pretty good.
You intended to kill that bastard. You found a way to make it happen.
You just
willed that bullet down the barrel.
You have to know beforehand before you pull the trigger which way it's going to go.
And that's something that's brought up by so many people.
You'll be successful.
I said a long time ago, and oddly enough, Texas has made carrying swords legal now.
Interesting.
You can now side carry a sword in Texas. And you remember in college, I used to say, okay, you want to get rid of guns? Cool, let's melt them all down and go back to swords.
How about that?
Because you never heard of drive-by slashings.
But
it was a direct challenge. It was a direct challenge, man. It was you and me right now. You know, let's how about you?
How about you?
You know, there weren't drive-by slashings. It didn't happen. There weren't drive-by murders with swords.
No.
So
bears don't care about my sword.
Fear anything that you want, folks, about people being able to carry swords. You never heard of people like
drive-by slashings
going crazy in a mall with a sword. It just didn't happen. And I remember whenever I came back...
It has happened now. It didn't happen back then.
When I came back from my semester in Rome in 95, dude, I brought 2 swords back with me from Salamanca. And... oh, my God, dude. You took that like a champ.
That stuff is like Popeye to spinach, man. I love me some Jim Beam and Bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
There's a couple more flasks over there, so... But, you know, I remember even then, like, I had them all wrapped up in blankets and cardboard and stuff like that to go in. And it took, like, all the carabinieri, like, they came over and inspected the freaking bag. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Like, hold up a plane with a blunt souvenir sword? Like, hey, this plane's going to Cuba. You know? Like, I got a sword, everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Come on.
But it ended up some people with box cutters did some crazy shit years later. So I guess I kind of see the reason why at the time now. But
if everybody's got one, right, then there's going to be all kinds of holes in your plane. If something happens, you know.
And I guess that's a lot of people's fear in America right now, especially with the shootings and things like that have been going on.
Protect yourself.
Especially in Vegas.
Protect yourself and protect your family. That is our number one God-given right. It's survival. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
As a you know, human species through the morphology.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does not mean just because you protect yourself doesn't mean you hate life.
No,
right? And you
I'm not
racist or any other thing.
Yeah, I'm not out seeking to kill anything.
It's about liberty and understanding and freedom and justice. It's not about, which is about love. It's not about getting over on the next guy. Yeah. Which is there are too many cultures. I will say there are too many cultures in the world that are.
Even in America,
to get up over them. Even in America,
subcultures. Let's say,
but all across the world, there are some cultures that are much more. Amenable to getting one over on the next guy. He, and you know it just. Come on, it's not.
No,
it's talking about. I mean, it just goes back to. I'm more hopeful than the title of the show.
Well, like I said, the title of the show is there to make
hopeful,
make people think about that because you know. Is it the slow degradation of America? Is that what we're willing to do? Is that where we're willing to go as a society? Are we willing to be a society that is only willing to have a conversation via social media instead of face-to-face?
I hope not.
Are we only willing to disagree?
We are right now.
Are we only willing to disagree via fucking hashtag? Instead of face-to-face. And I love you, Michael Davis, but you and I, like I said, more than once in life, have not seen fucking eye to eye, and we're pretty close to the same height.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's been a few times where we ain't seen eye to eye, where you ain't seen to my eye, I ain't seen to yours. And we're okay with that. We don't love each other for it any less.
No matter what. Yeah.
And you know, that to bring it full circle, like that's where the concept of the Hairy Christians came from, is the fact that we understand and we get each other and we're willing to listen to the other side to see if we can grasp a point of reality. And if it ain't there, hey man, if you can't explain it to me,
peace and eternal love.
That's it.
Unity, peace,
and eternal love. Which all together comes to just understanding. Just understanding, man. Just understand me. Just get me. Take the time to stop and get me.
And I think it, like I said, I think it goes deeper than that. Take the time to understand yourself, right? Because if you're focused out, you're not.
Well, you got
necessarily right inside.
Well, you definitely got to understand.
It's the beam in your eye for the splinter in your neighbors.
Well, it's the concept of you can't love anybody until you love yourself.
I'm very into that. You have to love and take care of yourself, and you got to love and take care of other people.
And when you're a good and right person within yourself, you'll be amazed at what reverberates around you and what happens around you, because you're doing things for the right reasons, not out of selfish reasons, not out of reasons of self-gain or self-appropriation or self-aggrandizement. It's doing things for the greater good. It's doing things to uplift other people and to bring people to a point of enlightenment. And that's what I think we as a society have kind of lost grasp of. The fact that
there isn't
we're supposed to have a collective consciousness. We're supposed to have and Julie, like I said, brought it up today, talking about parties and why is it that we can't just understand and get this greater concept? It's not hard to get the greater concept of things. It really isn't. And if I guess if you're so obtuse and so dense that you can't get the greater concept, then God bless you. I'll pray for you daily and take that how you like, people, but I'll pray for you every day because I wish you could get the greater concept. I wish you could understand the fact that we're all here for the same thing. We're all here to do the same thing. And, a few weeks ago, we had the people from...
I'll tell you what. Hold on. I got a quick mind centering exercise.
Do it.
Okay. Quick mind centering exercise. You're driving.
Master Michael.
Yeah, you're driving home from work or you're driving to work. Turn the radio off and just feel your body. Feel how your socks and your toes are fitting in your shoes.
Now,
feel the wind on your skin. Feel the coolness or the heat breathing into your lungs from the air. Just feel and stop thinking. Put your mind on your body. Okay?
Okay.
If you can do that for 5 minutes, right? You did pretty good.
Yeah.
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 Just being.
When I was, it was interesting because when I was with Brother Dodd the other day, when I was with Robert Dodd, I was talking with him about my point of sacrifice, selfish sacrifice, years ago, because me, I had and still have a deep connection with my God beyond church, beyond being in an edifice. My connection and my communication with my God is personal. It's there. But it's not where it once was. And for me to even be able to I used to be able to meditate for 30, 40 minutes at a time, uninterrupted. It was great. It was fantastic. And I can't anymore. Right. And I gave that up years ago whenever I fell into bad habits in life, stuff like that. And later, through therapy, figured out the fact that was because I was so emotive that I just didn't want to feel anymore. I used those things, I did that stuff so that I was not connected anymore. I was tired of feeling. I was tired of being connected to other people. I didn't want that. And unfortunately, that's led to a slight disconnection with my spiritual connection in some ways. So, yeah, and it's a flaw that I've seen in myself, that I've realized that it's harder for me to meditate like I used to for, like anything
you said, any
more.
Stretches.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, you need to start with the 5-minute.
Yeah.
Body centering.
And I
just
do.
feel
I
your
do.
instrument. All right. So I've been teaching acting for 4 years now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have to say, what I'm teaching.
The Academy of DanceAnatomy.com, folks. The Academy of DanceAnatomy.com. If you are in the greater Mercer area, check it out. Michael teaches some fantastic classes on acting.
I was going to say, if you're in Northeast Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, or East Ohio, Western PA, that's what it'd be considered.
Anyway,
yeah. I tell you what, some of the stuff that I understand now that I'm teaching these kids, I wish somebody would have told me when I was their age. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, just feel your instrument. Your instrument is your body, right? Your body, your eyes, your ears, your smell, your taste, right? Your being, right?
Yeah.
Just stop and feel it.
Be present.
Be where your feet are, right? Kevin,
be present.
Love Kevin Elko. Kevin Elko, Dr. Kevin Elko. But be where your feet are. Just stop and be.
Yeah.
Be. But I wish I'd have known at 12 what I, as an actor.
Well, and what's funny though,
what I'm
Mike.
giving these guys.
What's funny though, Mike, is that years ago, after you became a Harry Christian and you used to come to the special spot. That was the whole concept of the special spot.
A lot. Love going out to the special spot, y'all. Place on about, I don't know, what was that? 8 or 10 acres over there? 12 acres?
I wouldn't even say that.
Yeah, it was.
It was
down through that wash. Anyway, we'd go hang out on this huge. It was a huge geode that was actually breaking apart as it came up through the earth. Yeah. It was huge. Yeah. Prehistoric geode.
Yeah, it was great.
Made out of clay. Yeah. It wasn't crystal. It was. It was just clay. It was huge.
Yeah, it was like a geode of fleck mica and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was. Those huge veins of mica. Oh my God, I still got some mica. From in there. Yeah, but that thing was what? I don't know. What is this room? 12 by.
Oh, the special spot was easily 4 times the size of this.
12 by 16?
It was 60 by 60.
Oh,
smooth.
Man. Wow.
It was a nice little outcrop. And it was my spot whenever I was in the seminary. I found it. It was on a unknown trail. It wasn't even a trail. Huh. You just had to know where to turn with the woods next to you to be able to get to it. There was a tree that was very specific looking. That was like, you turn here and just keep walking through the woods.
Don't make a whole lot of tracks.
Yeah, don't make a whole lot of tracks. So everybody, don't go there so frequently.
Yeah, don't go a lot. Because then somebody will find out.
There were very few people who knew about it in college. And that if you hadn't seen me in a couple days, that's probably where you'd find me.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
How many times did you sleep out there?
A couple times.
3, 4?
A couple times. Oh, no. More than that. Like, easily a couple handfuls of times.
I know. Yeah, Sean. Like a couple weeks?
Well, with
10 to 14
semesters,
10 to 14 total?
Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, like... It was a great little spot. It was fantastic.
You remember going out to the trestle? Going out to the railroad trestle and drinking Shinerbach and doing homework. Well,
that's just it. It's
chemistry and organic chemistry. And calculus 2 and
tutoring you in Spanish. over drunken X
No
Files.
chinga mi perro, por favor, señor.
Damn! Why's it gotta be like that, Mike? Holy shit. Michael just made it fairly violent against animals, folks. I love you, but whew,
do we have a lot of Hispanic listeners?
I don't know, but we don't edit this show.
I'd be interested, yeah.
So that's out there. No. But there was a lot of that. And, whenever you talk about, like you said, letting your kids go, and it may have been before air where you were talking about let your kids go on a walkabout.
Oh, yeah.
For a year.
Oh, yeah.
And it was before air. Where you
definitely
were saying that, and I was like, give them $3,500 each. Bam. You're done with high school. Here's $3,500. You want to buy a car? Buy a car. You want to go out and explore the country? Go out and explore the country. Like, make life happen.
Make life happen.
Make life happen.
Child.
Jump. And I'm not going to say, as someone who spent 8 years in college, conglomerate, most people are called doctors.
Is that where do we need to call you Dr. Waldo?
No. I have no degree.
Dr. Waldo.
I have no degree. What ended up with me was
Dr. Christopher L. Jordan, Esquire.
What happened with
PhD,
me was
biggest dickus.
Do you know my friend? Goddamn. But what happened with me was coming to the understanding that I had a trade. I had a special skill set and understanding of things that a lot of people didn't have. And I use that to this day. And that's why I was saying earlier, whenever you were like, before air, like I want to make sure that they go to college, and I'm like, hey,
I want to make sure
that they're enabled to go to college if that's what they choose.
Understandable, yes,
but encourage regardless some form of trade.
Secondary period, right?
Yeah.
Second, you can't just have primary school. You have to have secondary school now. Secondary school is that's the bottom, you know what I mean? That's the bare minimum. But anybody who doesn't, unless they've got a certification.
No, you gotta at least graduate high school.
Yeah,
you gotta at least graduate high school. Don't get me wrong, but in this digital day and age, you can absolutely
make some money other ways.
Like I said, you can learn to program. Stuff like that. You can, there's all kind of trades that you can make your living with.
Sure.
Without having a college degree.
The technicals. Yeah, that's it.
Like there are kids that design websites right out of high school and make money with local businesses and stuff like that. So, if that's something that your kid shows aptitude or interest in, I am the fact of encourage it.
Get on.
I remember all of 2 years ago, my dad, who typically for the kids buys some stuff, but for the adults is just like, oh hey, here's $100. Here's $100. Go out and buy whatever you want.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah,
love
straight
you, Papa.
up. I'm gonna go out and buy a whole bunch of liquor. Thank you. You should have just
props
bought me.
to Papa Texas.
You should have just bought me liquor.
Props to Papa Texas. Yeah, just give me a a real nice bottle of bourbon. Everything's fine.
My nephew Nathan.
Please, that's all I'm asking.
My nephew Nathan, at like 14 years old, was wanting to build his own gaming computer.
Oh, we've got one of those on the Square in Mercer. It's called the Awesome. And you have access to all the databases of computer games, and you can just pull up something, And there's joysticks. 1, 2.
That's cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's cool.
It's wicked.
Well, yeah, he was big into Fallout and a couple other games, things like that were online play, and he wanted to build his own computer.
Gotcha.
Like his own gaming computer.
Gotcha.
And my dad kept sending ads to my brother from Best Buy, like, hey, here's this computer, like $350. Like, I'll get him that. And he's like, I'm like, Dad, I don't think you get it. Number one, for about $150 more, the kid could build a really badass computer.
Okay.
That's way beyond what they're selling at Best Buy.
It's like 4 times what that is. Yeah.
And for
maybe 3.
And no offense, but for $150 extra, you should encourage the kid to build his own computer. Understand the fact that this 14-year-old kid has the desire
and the
to
know-how.
Ground up build his own. No, he didn't have the know-how.
Oh, he's just balls.
He wanted to build his own computer.
That's what I'm talking about.
So his dad's like, yeah, I'll help you build it. Like, I'll watch YouTube videos. I'll learn how to seat a chip in a motherboard and,
get going. Yeah.
Put silver solder down and pop a heat sink on and how to build a computer. And we'll build you a computer, and like, yeah. And just the other day, it was interesting because I was getting a server that I purchased from a friend of mine ready to go back for some service. We were doing some stuff and ended up needing to go back to him. So I was putting some things back in it, and Dalbus was sitting on the couch between me and Amy while I had this thing on a stool, like between my legs, working on it. And he was like straight up in it, bro. 6 months old, y'all. And I ain't even lying. His eyes were like wide.
What?
And like
how do you do that?
Like 8 inches away and like hand on head.
Yeah, thinking hard.
Yeah,
he was thinking hard.
Oh man, like into it, bro.
Yeah,
like
into it.
Oh man,
I like it.
Like what? And granted, there's a lot of multicolored cables and shit like that in there.
Sure.
But it was, there he was, 6 months old, and I'm literally like walking him through it. Like, so yeah, right now, Dad's taking this hard drive and he's putting it into a rack sleeve that'll let it be able to slide in, and you got to put this through here. Make sure that the SATA cable sits right. And if it's the hard drive that's the main one, you want it to go to SATA 0.
Right.
Right.
And that's right. You got to make it right, dude. You can't fuck off.
Like, 6 months old, man. I'm like teaching him how to build a computer.
Do it right. Do it right.
But literally, he was like inches away from the body of the computer, like just into it the entire time. Nice. So, I can't wait until he's like 7, 8 years old and I can properly teach him how to solder. Until he's like 8 years old and I can teach him how to shoot, teach him how to be like I was. And even going back to that, looping around back to the CHL and the proper use of firearms, things like that. As a Cajun, I was brought up hunting. Like that's what a firearm was used for. Worst case scenario. It's used to defend yourself.
Dude, you gotta feed yourself first.
But other than that, it's no different than an axe and learning how to properly use an axe without chopping your finger or a foot off.
Yep.
Which is extraordinarily easy, folks. Look up the statistics as to how many people chop off some shit with an axe. Michael is pointing at his fucking thumb right now.
Yeah, man. Caught the end of it pretty good. Caught the end of it pretty good.
It's extraordinarily easy when you're swinging an axe.
Sure enough.
So just as many people that get hurt by self-inflicted gunshot wounds other than intended suicide, get hit by axes or other accidental things.
And to talk
like that.
about it, I don't know. You feel like wrapping it up, man?
Yeah, we're totally wrapping it up.
All right, so just wrapping it up. Finding that self-respect again as Americans.
Well, and like I said a few episodes ago, the spirit of Apollo, like when the Apollo moon launch happened, when the project of Apollo started,
we haven't gotten that yet. We need something that's going to grab all of our attention. And the struggle is on right now. Like you
some
said,
people would say it happened and nobody
revolution.
did anything.
Well, you don't argument for a different rat hole. We can go down.
That's some other time. No, that's a perfect expression because you didn't even say rabbit hole. You said rat hole.
That's a rat hole. I'm not trying to.
That's a rat hole, son. I don't know if you want to go down that hole. You're going to find all kinds of shiny things you may have forgot about.
Yeah. Shit. But wrapping it up, I'm more hopeful.
I'm very hopeful.
We're
holding hands right now, folks. This is a Thelma and Louise moment.
Then the title suggests, our kids are going to have to, especially if you're talking about doing the vocations more and these presentations of
quite literally just the issues
that are being made to high schoolers that say, college is bullcrap. We need you in the field. Your state needs you in the field. Your country needs you in the field. You need to turn wrenches.
Not just that, Michael, but it's the fact of
work and wires together. Like, we need you now.
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
And so if that does hold true,
we definitely need to return.
We lessen this digital unaccountability, right?
Yeah.
Then I think our country will come back together again because we'll have to be dealing with each other on a very simple basis if you're working, right? If it's physical, there will be people in contact, analog, right?
That sounds very communist to me.
Does it? I didn't know that. Does it?
Let's all gather together in the factory. The factory is the one. Oh my God!
Fascism, dude. Yeah,
Michael.
Yeah. Well, but think about it. If you have splintered, I'm not talking about.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
If you have splintered out away from each other as all these simple islands that have digital unaccountability, right? And what happens is a degradation of that technological structure or the need for its reinforcement, which is manufacturing, right? The infrastructure of technology is needed, right? Unless you can make robots,
unless you got something to maintain everything,
right? Unless you're and make it go forward, I mean AI
and continue to progress.
I'll be honest with you. AI scares the shit out of me because I don't think they have it under control. You're talking about. I mean, Stephen Hawking is right.
Not going to say they do.
You're talking about seriously another species. Right?
Yeah.
Like literally
Saudi Arabia just actually identified their first cyber person.
And it has more rights than all of the women in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
A robot has more rights in Saudi Arabia. One robot right now.
One robot.
Yeah, one robot right
now. Female
now.
robot.
It's a female robot. The irony does not escape me. Oh my!
Yeah. It's a female robot.
Oh my! That's phenomenal. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, refining elegance and self-respect. And I'm more hopeful than.
And I think that's really
suggests.
the focus. No, I think that's really the focus of this episode is refining the elegance and refinement in society. Because if we get back to that point of common politeness, if we get back to that point of understanding of each other, screw political correctness.
Political correctness killed social grace.
That's the extreme of social grace.
Correct.
Extreme.
Because here's why it killed it, right? If I no longer have the ability to say something and then find out what your reaction is, right? And then say, "Oh, I'm sorry." You know what? I just learned something.
Yeah.
Right? I have changed myself now.
Should have.
Right. I have changed myself now.
Or at least have a different concept in my paradigm.
Why would you not allow for that?
Yeah.
Right. Once you get a brand, you always got the brand, and it's the brand.
Yeah, but you got
the big red letter
and
we're wrapping
it. We're wrapping it right now, folks. But you got the same country people in your family that I got in my family, and you know they stubborn as hell. And
all you listening out there got the same country folks. You know, back in them nooks and crannies of your family tree.
Whether it's people that are religiously fanatic, whether it's people that are politically fanatic, on either side of the fence, red, blue, purple, doesn't matter. The issue is that it's not about sides. It's not about political parties. It's not about that. It's about each other. It's about each individual person and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is the utmost. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And if you think about it, that's survival, freedom, right? And the pursuit of joy, right? Chasing joy.
You could define it as that. I see it as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Hey,
life as you define it.
A drink to the Constitution of the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen.
We're gonna enjoy
signing off. Yeah.
We're gonna enjoy a strong drink, and we'll get into something about the Whiskey Rebellion at some point, and the first Civil War that actually happened
Pittsburgh,
in America,
baby,
right up here in Pittsburgh. But until then, please, folks, please. Keep on tuning into the Dudes and Beer podcast, dudesandbeer.com. Please make sure to check out the HC Universal Network. We are a proud part of the HC Universal Network system of family of podcasts, along with Yes But Why podcast, Scary Dad podcast, and Talking Sound, and many others to come. Until next time, everybody, I love you, Michael Davis.
I love you.
I love all of you. I'm Christopher Jordan. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and if
Thanks
you can't
for
be
listening
good,
to this
be
episode
good
of
at
the
it.
Dudes and Beer podcast. To listen to our audio streams and chat with us live, download the official Dudes and Beer app for both Android and iDevices, available on the Google Play and iTunes markets. For more episodes, content, and information, visit us online at dudesandbeer.com. You can also find our episodes on Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast service. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, drink responsibly.